So yeah, so guys, we're gonna do a few things on the LWC. The pending part which I was designing yesterday is saying, let's have a data table to be implemented and one LDS. So what is the key focus today is? Um, so we'll have a lightning data table, and the lightning data table will have a search key with search text box. I mean, same thing. We're gonna improvise this to have a search text box and search it if possible. We'll see about sorting also. Um, but anyway, that would be available to us, which is simple snippet to have to have sorting. Sorting in the sense you have to have a paginations also. Firstly, we'll try to achieve with the TT table and then with the search text box. Later on, the sorting and pagination will check. Um, so how do you do a sorting? Sorting is so from the caps, or maybe you're trying to do from the values based on the numbers that you're getting, or pagination. Let's say you're going for the next set of pages or previous pages. So everything you have to handle the on clicking of buttons. So you have to move around or front or backward using of next button or the previous buttons. And using LDS, so I want to simply show you using lightning edit form, like how we had lightning edit form. So record edit form, record APIs. This is what I'm talking about. I think this already we discussed in what is it with our explanations, but similar type of coding structure which we do with the LDS. But this is not something that we would write a code without using any controllers or without doing a server side implementations. So you need to go ahead and get them all. How do you do that without Apex? So that without Apex. So basically, this will indicate server side controller. For creating some record, we don't require a server side controller at all. So this is one thing. And so what else? If possible, LWC to hit service. I think if you're able to do some activity like this, then it's I think decent enough. LWC to hit a service. Yeah, in the previous class, I think we hit a JSON type of structure, got this, and something with the Heroku applications, we are able to get this detail, right? Something let's try with this. And the data which we're getting it. So are we able to display? I think this is an example which we've taken from LWC data table, I think. So from there only we tried to hit a service and we checked it. So let's see. So an LWC is calling an Apex class to hit a service, or LWC is calling directly a service and then displaying data without Apex controller. We'll see either with or without a without an Apex. So by doing this, what you'll get to know is you would be familiarized with the APIs. APIs in the sense, let's say at the rate a few decorators already wire and track you've used. At that API will try to use it here any one of this case. And so ideally, when to write a logic on load of data or just have a dispatch event, something we will have a toast message to say success or a failure here. Um, at the moment you say the record has been created, so you say toast message success, the record is created. So that also we'll see. How to implement the import statements, we'll see it. So far, importing a statement hardly be seen with this. Lightning element, wire, and a track we've used, and then we try to use the import as for when we try to want to get specific methods of our class. We were using this. So this class dot method name we're using this. Otherwise, so iterative track and then wire. Hmm. So we can also have imperative calls. Imperative calls in the sense without calling the or without using a wire method also we can able to get the data. So I will tell you how to do imperative calls. Any one of these methods because we are trying to call the data. So data table which should go get me the real time data. So this is something with Apex controllers only it is possible. Um, we'll try it out with Apex or without Apex also is fine because we have a record APIs to get the data without querying the records. Yeah, somewhere I've written record edit form. So this is basically record APIs we get it. So using this record API, so we can get the data directly without querying the Apex controllers. So we'll see any of the method how do we achieve. And if at all I want to call a method instead of wire, I'll try to call the API. And how do I make an imperative call? I'll tell you guys. So few things are important, like custom events. What are called as custom events, and what is called connected callback. Connected callback, and what is this? What do you call promise? So I don't know whether we're going to use everything here, but I'll just give highlights of this. Custom event in the sense either you write a method or something that which tries to call a particular button, so which calls the custom events uh, or registry events. I think on the day we explained about this. Registry events will have remove events, dispatch events. So registry events. So basically, they are all events. One of the events category, registry events, dispatch events, or remove events. Remove. I think this is all one of the categories that we've just gone through it. So I want to have this event. Generally, we will call for methods. Call for um, methods that handles an action. So content callback on load of the page, load of the component, um, calls the method. Promise. So it makes sure that we have been made this call or so maybe at the very beginning it didn't run. It is something like to try catch and finally how you have. So try catch even though the run or not, but at the last you have finally would be running it. Same way we are expecting that the promise would make sure that okay I would run for this. So we are making some promise, right? So I will run for sure. So that type of an activity we say it as promise. So we'll see about this also. Dispatch and events, you will be seeing it. Dispatch events where we will see is we will see on the toast messages, something like toast events, because we have to fire an event. So that's the reason we are trying to dispatch the events. So toast events. So do it, not to show a message success or error. So all this is gonna see today. Um, if possible, something we left over also. So we're gonna continue tomorrow. Maybe slighter piece of this, and then so what is next upcoming days I wanted to have is so maybe tomorrow or it can extend till Sunday. So that would be our last class. So what according to me, which I have left over is um, either how do you do deploy the LWC components, LWC components, because LWC components is not like something available other for like other guys. Like how do we do deploy components? Yes, it is available in chain set. I'll show the options to you. Chain set we have, and otherwise code repositories. So like pushing the code to Git, push the code to Git, or in Git or Bitbucket, anything it is. Git or Bitbucket. just give you an idea how it works. And the next thing is few configurations, like how to create community cloud. So this is now recently named as Experience Cloud. So people will talk about Experience Cloud. Um, so this is the one. It is called as Experience Cloud or Experience Digital Cloud. Anything you can, or Digital Experience Cloud. So they have a couple of names that newly got it. So what all this indicates is once again, yeah, digital cloud. So the priority would be, I think, just getting the CPU content here. Um, so I would have a beta or a demo type of, or because you have to install a package and I'm able to see this CPQ, how it works. This is something like cash, price, and code. So you have a products, how do you categorize and how you price the structures, all that we're gonna see it. So these are all high level basic things you're gonna see it. So this is either in a day we can complete D or two. And this whole thing is for on the LWC side what maximum will go to stretch the contents. Yeah. So then understanding the life cycle of data components is, I'll just give a link. So how do you make a connect between one component and another component? So in this very simple, so just you give it as, so the component name like C and then colon, we just give the name, right? Something like this, you're gonna give a component name. So here while we writing also one component can be calling another component. I will try to inject one component with the previous component because we don't have any dependency here. I will just put this component to another component. How it can overlap with one component another component, that will see anyhow. Um, display a component with another component. Done. So, so these are expectations in LWC, and that are expectations in the last few things which we have. Of course, deployment is one key stuff. Another few configurations about what are the other things we have in Salesforce. So I think sales so far we have covered up with the basics of sales, service, and tips of marketing. And then in terms of frameworks, we have been touched with the force.com. We're having a good idea of Apex Controller. And in the Apex controllers, we know dynamic Apex in terms of just querying without just a database.get query locators. All these are used as a dynamic Apex. Where we use this, these are we used in batch Apex. Which category is batch Apex? If you see they are asynchronous Apex, and they have multiple things inside that. So like queuable class, batch class, future method, sorry, future methods, and scalable class. This all comes into asynchronous Apex. So which is very important as to which are important concepts in Apex, advanced Apex. And then we again move to integrations. Integration REST-based controllers we have, and a SOAP-based controllers we have. Why REST specifically? In order to deal with any web-based applications, simple HTTP get post, or you wanted to patch or delete something. So you will do a very quick activity to get a header resource and then get the results. Like how generally we have in what do you say? Hit the request to this endpoint and get the data. So the body structure is something they've given us. So this is one set of parameters which is sent in a JSON format. So that's the reason they are trying to display the results in the JSON format. And this doesn't have so this doesn't have any authorizations. So it went just like that. So if we have an authorizations, we have to pass it over here. So that could be bearer token. So where you have to send this token. To hit this token, again we have some paradigms. So let's say you have a current app you have used. So their client key, client secret, which type of an ID we're sending it, and the username and a password with secure token. So if you all send this only, then you'll get the data. which is that access token you'll get, and that access token is proceed to this APIs. So why we have this? Because that's how you take an handshake authorization firstly, and then you allow them to connect with the Salesforce. And by this way, we try to connect from some other system to Salesforce. So ideally, that is how we are trying to expose service, and they are trying to consume. And when they try to hit our service, what results we have to return back, we're very sure about it. So anyone who asks us, we say that this is the request form and this is a response form. I think we are good there. So then again, what we did is we try to go implement the SOAP-based service. So a few external service that which we got a visual file. We try to import that visual file and create an Apex class. From that Apex class, we try to call these services. Let's say go get me the weather API or go get me the distance of these guys. So we try to use some APIs to display the data, and the data which can be displayed in format of XML, or you can convert them to a JSON format. So this again our wish. So now getting those data again, playing with Apex is, hey, you got the data, now you try to display them in a table. So that table could be your RO table or your VF table or your LWC table. So while talking about VF page, again we discussed about the standard controller, standard controller extension, custom controller, and extension. So extension is basically the same class where you're trying to extend the features of whatever they have. Let's say they have save features already written in standard, and then we're trying to extend it by save method. Only when you click on a save button, it will try to do an activity. So because you have overwritten the features of save. For this, I used a page reference. So the moment you save it, I did redirect to a respective URL. It could be custom page, so it could be a normal ID based on the navigations, all that we tried out. And of course, VF is a page centric, so each and every page you have to connect through. So then we moved to RM, and then in the R also we what we did is a quick references of LDS we seen, and why RR we have been seen, because all people are connecting with Lightning page. Sorry, VF page is a page centric. So I want to be staying in a single page as a SPA, single page application component. So I can have multiple components within the same window. So I need to interact with each other, or I wanted to have my own set of controls where I try to create a record, I try to display data. So whatever I want to do. But this all you're trying to do it within the component, and not navigating from one place to another place. And the component whichever you're doing it, you can add to a record page, app page, home page. So there's many options we have. So tomorrow, if any requirement you get it, so could be on RR, could be on LWC, but your question should be, the first thing is where this component should reside. So based on that, everything changes. Let's say you were saying that it should be on the record page. So now the record page, whichever you're trying to modify, so you should make available, or whatever the component you just added should be visible across the layout. So even there also you can distinguish which profile has to view this component. So that also we have a control. And so what else? So we try to display data on the component page load, yes, by using init method, and also we try to call um, without doing Apex call. We try to display the data in a component bundle, and what else? So we also try to hit the Apex controllers and get the data. We also pass the parameters and get the data, and we also able to pass parameters and then create a record. I think with LDS without passing any params also, we are without calling an Apex class also we try to create data. And overall, finally we display the toast message. So the toast message indicates whether it's success or a failure. In case of success, it was displaying the success message there. So till then we did about the error. Then we jumped into the LWC. In LWC, what to do is, so overall we understanding the life cycle of the LWC, why LWC has to be, because they are following the ELS lane, and then JavaScript forums, everyone they want to follow the same paradigm. So we have moved to a structures of coding something with the similarities of how the Java programs would have. So having something like import um, with the packages that whatever we want, these all called adapters, from which these are adapter IDs, we call it from adapter. So generally this type of multiple adapters we can have. So one set of an example is LWC. In future they would have, LWC could have multiple adapters. This one of the adapters that we're seeing is LWC. So you may have a number of adapters would come in future. So they kept it in place like, okay, we can have multiple things here. So one of them is here. So where you can go call your class method and then get the detail of this. So otherwise, whatever you do with wire or track or these are adapters, These adapters can be used later to what decorators and then have their individual properties defined it. So anything you do, firstly you have to set the so like say like import activity we do in other Java program, the same way you're doing it here. Here also you can call a apex class area. You may not try to call a apex class. So both the ways you can be done. So the meaning of them it is why they're doing it is yes, sometimes you require to query a server data, or sometimes without that also you should be able to hit the data. So advantages would be I'm not hitting any limits of circle. So if I hit a query and then get a results, then only I did hit a query, right? So by doing this, I need not to have query the Salesforce records. So but anyway, you're gonna give a filters from here only. So that doesn't mean that so this will not count against the arm. Of course it'll do, but you are not writing a program for it. So what are the structure sales was given, you're using it. Along with that, we wanted to in LWC, uh, so we wanted to also have a few things like this. So that table, other stuff that we wanted to proceed. So we are focusing on this today. Any question, guys? So from where the advanced class data, just give a quick recap.
No, good.
Yeah, the topic wise or content wise, we have multiple. so so don't feel bored about it. So these are the things at which we high level we covered. So there could be another few set of things which is you have to learn. So please refer to a developer guide, trailheads, and learn little more advanced or additional things added to this. But at least now, if someone takes an interview, so if you terms and terminologies would be for sure, you guys would have heard about it. So I'm pretty sure. Um, at least the topics that when they ask questions, it will at least strike at least once in our training session. So I made sure to have all of them. Majority were focused. If something is left over or so that is about self learnings we have to get in. So unless when you join a project, we will not get to know the scope of them. So I can help over to people where the moment you join a project, when you get stuck with, so what is this? Okay, just give you an idea. What this will do it. That would be an initial kickoff help. How if you struggle through a new project, so we can help out there. No issues. Otherwise, let's start with the data relating table. So, so this already we have a class which call as get accounts, and then based on the certain numbers, you are getting the data. So here, so we have a wide account. See, this can be ABC, whatever, but we're just making sure that okay, we have a data when we call this method, where adapters method, and then if the success, you'll have data. If you have errors, you'll be added here. It's something like a try catch where you have, um, yes, of course, we can have a try catch also, but simply like having a data or error. So more or less like a try catch, you can assume. So data is success, error is something failure. This with this data we keep it, and then we display over to the component like HTML what we have here. So ideally what we did yesterday is he just send the input. Is that input? Input is here. So you calling a method on change of this restaurant. It is trying to get the get accounts value there, and then accounts you're trying to do iteration. So if it is error, it's gonna show through an error. The same thing today. What I want to have is the same number you're gonna pass it out, but this time we're not gonna deal with this such things, but we're gonna deal with the data, their table, data and columns would be there. So what is columns is the name of the field is columns, and the actual data which is gonna present there is data. So so I would wish to what is it? Do the same activity. I'm thinking to write a layout. Let the layout be. Let the card be. I don't bother about this. But what bothers me to get the um, specific type. Better I'll try to write a new component because no disturbance. Anyhow, we're getting a data is fair enough, so not worry about it. So these LWC components use data table. So yeah. So of course, what I'm going to use there is So comma where. So where why? It's at like narrator. We know that it's gonna call the a method. So basically based on that I'm gonna use this stuff. So let me say that. So this time, so we may use few fields in order to distinguish that I'm gonna use in the columns. I'll just show this input. So this is an ABC variable I'm just defining here. Name field from at the rate Salesforce. So are you using the Apex or look at this? Are you using Apex or use schema? Schema when you use it, so you need not to query a record. Is getting so. Just directly to it. So when I use name field from this, so this is not something you have a class. You're just calling the schema of the account object and the dot name that you are defining as name field here. Because this could be anything as ABC, whatever it can be. So I'm just giving decent of giving it's a name field. Okay, like this we will have two, three fields will have it. Why? Because based on that only I'm gonna do a data table. So name field you can have industry. So it's one of the field. Or if you don't want this industry, you want it specifically. Account number will take it up. Account number. And then we have a billing city. So three things we've used, I'll use them. So it's not name field, it's a account account number field and there's a billing city field. Perfect. So now inside this what we're gonna use it. So I want to call a method also. This all the fields that we know that has been used here. I want to call also the a class that will have a method that try to um, get the accounts. Mm, So get customers is the one which I have is a method which I have written. So from the same piece where it is Salesforce, but we see it as an Apex class. And then so let's have a class. I think sometime back we written a class here. so so get accounts is the one we have already. So I can write this method again. So get accounts, I don't pass anything here, no on a string. So this something data table that we're going to display, just calling the method. So next method we'll try to pass a value and then get them. So we can have like that. So now look at this. I don't have list anything here, and I don't want to give anything like parent number where. Just go get the from account number. That's more than enough. So now I will have a return statement directly here. Return the account list. Is getting so return anyway return in the list of accounts, right? Okay. So what is the method that I've listed there? Get customers. Hmm. Actually, we're not able to get the customer there. Hmm. Okay. Get customers. So any So I want to pass the record type not equal to restore. So that is the only thing I want to do it here. But because I'm saying that get customers, they are not restaurants. So we'll have the value to be put here and record type. So I would say this record type not equal to this. From account, so where record type ID not equal to this one. Yeah, I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna deploy this to source up. So that way I get a get customers as a method. So LWC restaurant customers. Does this match? Use the JS class name dot get customers the method name. Then single quote should be closed here. Guys, any questions so far here? So I prepared my Apex class and also call in dynamically few fields in order to display them in the column. And let the class deploy because it has two methods. Oh, deploy failed to not why. A variable does not exist at least. Oh, now what issue is, so we shouldn't have written this. Written directly, you have to do it. The statement itself says that you're returning something there. Okay, no actual system debug. Basically, you're trying to query a record and that will be written to a list account. Let's see. I try to deploy this. And something else given here. So let's see if they have there, they will throw an error. Let's wait for it. Use the tables. Be good. So let me use this target exposed and close this to. See, this is run. So no issues there. Okay. So cinematic XML file. I'm just replacing this with it should be available in all across. So we are good there also. Now let's come here. So till now we are good with the calling the method and what are the fields that we wanted to have. Because like the table expects you have a data and a column. Those two things we should be good enough. The constant I'm gonna give. So this constant is something that hold this value um, in order to display these variables. You can have other track, but I'm just giving these columns here. So these columns which would be helpful in displaying the table where data table expects the column names. So for that only we're constructing this and then have these terminations here. Why I have mentions here. Constant modifier can be only used in TypeScript files. So we will write and let me see it. So I'm gonna have a label here. Label by indicators that is something like account number you have to say, right? Or account name you have to say. So account. So in this case we are saying that customer name. So we say customer name and then comma. So now we have to mention the field name. So that we'll be discussing here. So there's a name field, right? So this is a name field which you wanted to pass. So in this name field, by default, we have this API being called. So what I do is name field dot. So the name field dot. Yeah, field labeling. So this name field, whatever the API that we given, so I'm just using that name field dot API name. And what type of it is? It's actually a type of text. So you need to define the data type also because so your data table has to understand what the column value has been flowing in. So if you have one or more values, you have to give them as comma. So let's see the last one long not of comma. Oh, sorry guys. This is open close and there's another one open and there's another one open here because each and every one has their own. I think now it's correct. Okay. Each one has their own open and close braces. So label customer name field label name text. So the next instant field is then again it's a text. It's called as customer number. It's now number field dot API field name. Next is billing city field dot API name. So billing city is again text only. So all these are text. Need not worry about it. So this one again I'm gonna give customer city. Mm, so not have this because each individual labels we have, so need not worry about it. So what I'm doing is okay. The labels why we are adding is in order to get the data table in the data table customer name, number, city, and each different type of text type. So it's very important your label, your API name, and give your what data type. As three simple enough to get for a columns ready. Um, one is like oh sorry guys. So this is before. So why I feel this constant modifier is not available is it's just like other files that we are exporting here. So it can't be inside this lightning element. So that's the reason it is throwing error there. This constant like we're defining it right before a class is getting called, this constant should be defined here like this. So why they are saying as TypeScript file? Because it should be displayed like other how files we're importing it. So this actually we are referencing Salesforce and then the schema document and then they have their object and the name. Somewhere we are referencing like a file here. That's the reason from at the rate all we are mentioning here. Something like if you want to define the constants also, just display outside the this class names. It's just like globally available for this class. Sorry, publicly available for this class to use them. Okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna define a columns inside. So I can put the other track or I can just define just simply saying that columns. And I'm gonna give this as this columns names. So columns is defined. So let me use at the rate wire. Just the wire would I'm not going to call very seriously. So simply at the rate wire and say that this is returning accounts or simple customers. Because the method of this call is just to indicate I call the get customers, right? That's it. So what is the meaning of this is I columns is ready for me and get customers, the customer is having this. So this would be a data for me. I don't mention here, but I would mention in data column. So data is equal to customers. because this could be ABC, whatever it is. It's not specifically. The get customers returning me a list of records. That is what is customers are mentioned here. So any questions here?
No.
So we will try to improvise these values, like just passing a text and then get the data table. That is all we'll do it. But basically, few things we have to go. Just let's play the data table that it will ready. Then we'll do multiple options here. We'll improvise this more on. Simple values first. We can start to kickstart. Now I have to have an HTML to display the basic things here. I think we can borrow the snippet from here directly. So I would say the lightning template. So I don't have even. So this is fair enough. So okay. So from here, use the table. But here, template. So we don't have accounts there. We have customers there. Customers dot data. So this is the one we have. Now we don't display anything like this table. Sorry, like a for each loop. We don't do that. But instead we're going to change it to a lightning data table. So, so here. Anyway, this all quick references that we get so that we can quickly give lightning hyphen data table. The first one. So in the data table, what is the key that you wanted to give us? So key, we're going to give key field. So key field is always an ID of the record that is going in. And then for data table, three important things. You have to have key. Why? Because each row is unique. So we need to have place an ID there. And then data for something like this, we get it right. Customer data. So let me see my JS, what I've written. Customers, right? So this customers data indicates me the value of it. So data is equals to customers data. And the next is columns. So columns indicates me that already the column is displayed here. So you can have ABC, whatever the name you want to have. Not a big deal at all. So columns. Done. Close it. So the Lightning data table is ready there. So we're gonna take this off. See here also we used key ID. Like that only it is having key ID here. And customers.data. So we know that what to be placed here. Columns. Everything has been given here. We'll take this off. If you require a lightning card to be placed, yes, we can place it out. Okay. So if you want to have a just basic lightning card on the top, yes, we can have lightning. Under this, you can place this template. It's okay. So that at least it displays decently like a card. Firstly, I want to check one thing here. Short for LWC in Visual Studio. Few shortcuts we require for LWCs. Keyboard shortcuts. For indentations, what they do, I don't know. Huh. Yeah, I want keyboard shortcuts. So first thing is indentation somewhere if you have it. So I guess I think this is entering pretty simple. So I'll paste this link here. So why the shortcuts are required is shortcuts, shortcuts, or you can say keyboard shortcuts. So why I want to have a shortcut is basically Control Shift Tab. If you do, it is doing indentation there, but here it is very pathetic. Control A, Shift Tab. If I do, it will come. It is coming to this side. Overpress, it's not going to the place where it want to be. Automatic indentation is not happening. So for that reason, I want to have shortcuts. Any indentations, Control F. Oh my God. Mm. For indentation, they don't have anything. So um, what's are these shortcuts? Shortcut keys for LWC for indentation. Any shortcut key to indent the code in. See, someone says, but AP is control shift tab, which I said. So that same thing for LWC. Do we have any? So they're saying someone control shift H. Control shift H. That is something for search. This is going searching something. Control Alt Shift F. Control Alt F. Let's say this. Control Alt F. What is it? Control Alt F.
Shift Alt F, right? Not Control.
Oh my God. Prettier. I'll go with this. Is it done right? Yeah. So let me go at go unknown place. Shift Alt F. Yes. So I was doing Control Alt F. See.
Yeah.
Sorry. But at least I was saying my vocal so that you can hear it. Okay, I think this is also ready. So lightning card is ready, chase is ready, and then anyway, the configuration file also we have added already. So something that display here. Let's deploy this. And we have an hour to get the key and show something here. So basic table we are displaying here. We have to have a search text box with paginations or sorting basic thing. Okay, this is perfect. It ran. So let me just go quickly to our so yesterday, some customer restaurant customers we I bought this and here uh, in the app builder. So we have to go modify the lightning page. I'm gonna configure on the lightning page only because let's have a couple of components there. Oh, this should be first classic. Hmm. Restaurant customers. I'm gonna do this. So use date table we have here. So I'm gonna throw this here. You see this already it's getting the list a bunch of data here. Save it and then come back to these restaurants. So I just recently added it, so I have to refresh this page. Um, do you see this, guys? Since it's the data table, it is allowing you to have these check options also, but it's not getting used anywhere. But you see this. So I have my customer name, number, city. So are we getting this data? This table is ready there right away. So why it is displaying properly in a proper format is because we have added the lightning card so that the background is neat enough to look. Why? Inside that we are displaying the lightning table. And for the data table, we have just seen two things. One is I need these columns. So whatever I mentioned, customer name, numbers, customer city, it has been displaying as a label there. And each and every has AP names that which you disclosed. And the data which is queried here in our Apex class, we have this query data. For example, if this is a controller we have, so already we have queried the account number, name, and then city. We need not to worry about it. Okay, let's say if you have additionally a few other fields you want to display, so make use of JS where you define the fields and the fields you have to get already display at the column level and just get the data which you wanted to place with. Is any questions?
No.
Okay. So one more thing I want to do is if I have a what is that? If I have input table, sorry, if I have input data type, and how could I achieve with this? So now let me go back to my whole display customers.html. So I would use few things here. Let me check whether it is possible or not. Now, anyway, this is a normal if loop we had. For the same layout, I would try to have another lightning card and try to inject this. How to do it? So this is the whole one we had, and the new one is simple lightning card. So now I need to display the data based on the search results. So for that I require a search key. Anyway, we have here. So simple table I can display here. Customer data and data column. So we have to get here. Key is actually dependent here. Customers data. Few things would be changed here. Let's see. Some small change would be there. So I'm gonna comment this snippet because I don't want it to use right away. And I don't lose this code also. So I'm gonna have this code here. So you can refer them in the later stage. But input is very important for me, and that is gonna do a search restaurant. So this data has to be flown from my customers. I should not give this directly. Hey, give this customer data. No. So something in the JS also there would be some change here. Let me go get my these three fields as the field which I want to display. Okay, let me get this all of this. So in the display in the JS file. So we had only these three things, right? So I want to have now all of this. But we don't have a get customers here. I'm gonna throw this and then I have this get accounts. Let me have the same method. I don't want to change anything here because my input keys are laying here. So get customers I'm not doing, but I'm just saying get accounts. Otherwise we are good there. Customer name, city, all these are fine. Columns are ready. So restaurant is also fine. Accounts also fine. So accounts okay. Let's see what is trying to get the number. Get accounts, data, everything we have here. So what else is missing? So I want to have something called as columns. So I would have this dot. So wire track we have. Okay, wire track we have. Okay, so these columns I want to have. So the starting and I'll define it after you. Columns is equal to columns. It can be a track also. No problem. No problem with that. It's not a big deal. Define or don't define. It will become private properties of it. So all are decorative private properties only. So column is set. Now we have to prepare for data. So the data which we have here is this is the one which we have to have. Um, search restaurant. Okay, then we have restaurants, accounts. So account is having data there. So that means accounts dot data it will be there. Okay. So it's all about accounts dot data. So I'm gonna save this. Mm, so display HTML. What we have display customers. I'm gonna get this next to this. So that will be quickly you can refer here. So instead of customers data, it is now accounts dot data. Why? Because account is holding the data now. Okay? Accounts dot data, and then column is column, normal column. So let me things what we have done. So guys, only I have changed this. So instead of from a table viewpoint displaying list of records, I've just changed it to this. Like having a key, account data, columns, accounts. How we got this? We just map to this accounts here. So data of an account is holding this. Accounts or data accounts is all the same. So let's see them how it works out.
Columns are the same for both customer and accounts.
These are accounts only, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
But for this get accounts method, I didn't MCD restaurant you're giving it. Okay. So actually you're sending a restaurant number. So based on that you're gonna get the customers, right? So it's same way here.
Okay.
So I didn't define a record type specifically, but just giving the number, I'm just getting the value. Restaurant number you
Because
can give.
yeah, I got
Your voice is breaking.
I got confused with account and customer. Both are same, right? Doesn't matter. We're just
Yeah,
displaying.
just different method I've written here.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it should also be get customers, but in that particular method, I didn't write any input params to go as like restaurant number. It was just
yeah, yeah.
flat.
Just a
Yeah.
flat query. Yeah.
But here I'm just sending the query here. We will improvise this. We have to add multiple things to in order to send sorting and all. I'm just opening up one by one. First is just table. Next is send the params and get the data. And next possible if we can get sort this value also we'll see. Where I have to improvise this method that way. As many params you add it, you have to go to this particular method. You have to change them. This way here, I want to see that how an existing snippet. If I want to inject the data table, is it working or not? So that's a trial. Okay. All I want to go to this HTML and then deploy this. Since this component is already added to a UI page, so this has to get managed and get like a data table like this. So once if it is successfully deployed. Okay, successfully deployed. Let me go there and Control Shift R. So then accounts.data would not have any value to display there. Oh, cannot read property called data. I was thinking about this. So customers displaced him. Should it be account just because already data is equal to accounts map should be accounts. So let's see. Whatever the data which is flowed in, so we have assigned to this dot accounts. Okay, we will try it out. So why didn't display is because of there's an error statement for that. We'll modify the snippet here. So if data, so what I'll do is I'll say the track data here, and I put this way. Track data is equal to a list of type. Okay, and this data, what I want to have is and separately name as okay, and we'll have the red track accounts. So this we're not dealing with one single record, we are dealing with the n number of records, right? So track like accounts here. Okay. I think data is fine there. Save the data accounts is all pretty good. So leave data here. It out it here. Let's see. Control Shift down. So there's a table MCD, and I think it's not progressive, right? MCD. So I should go to get the table here. On search of this restaurant, so you collecting the data. Come here. On search of this restaurant, even the restaurant number is firing, so it should go here. So let me have data is defined a symbol, and data is defined an array. It's so simple that where the data has to be displayed here. Okay, let me check whether our control has been calling or not. I'll go to developer console. Logs. So control shift R. So I know I'm gonna type it here. MCD. So it admit a search here. Yeah. So it is passing a value called Telangana as a result, but the data is not been displayed here back. The data table is not displaying the data. Mm, what could be miss? So columns were displaying. Mm, so this all doesn't matter. So this dot columns I can put here. This dot columns. Get accounts data. Still we are good here. So let me try with this. So I'm not doing anything. So the data which is incoming, I'm just putting to this dot data. And anyway, in the controllers here, we have put as data here, so not a big deal. Just a minute. Wait, did we get a message that saying successfully deployed? So it is trying to read data, but it's not displaying the value here. So, so let's do our console log here. Whether I would see console dot log, entering the variable what this dot data is holding. Okay, so this will get to know what the error actually it is holding here. So anyone will have accounts and not using it. Let's just leave this. Oh, if it is error, they're replacing it. See, let me have this only. It's too much confusing. So let's have not data. Throw this away. Accounts as what we earlier we had. The same thing we'll have. If that is the error, then it is undefined. This dot accounts is equal to data. And now, so this dot account only. And now our data table also should have yeah, this dot act is equals to data. Guys, this was a mistake, guys. Sorry. On the top, did you see that? If this is true, only then we're getting here. Might be multiple factor of that only thing.
So account data is true only, we are getting inside.
So earlier I didn't have an account, right? was dealing with this dot data.
Okay.
So there itself is an issue. So accounts now I'm changing anywhere to the accounts. So let's make it a simple. So whatever you're trying to make a template at the top. So if you're saying true or false, it should align with that. If you don't define this also is fine. At least the table would have been displayed. Now you're saying accounts here and then you're coming here. So that was the big issue. So now anyway, I have defined it should be an accounts. Let me go with accounts. It's not account dot data now, just simply accounts. Let's see this. Because we are able to hit the query, but the data which is coming, so in the table it's not allowing me to show there. It's still running. Mm, Meanwhile, account data, this dot accounts is equal to data. So I'll get to know. I'll shift on. Whatever goes wrong this time, we have to have our inspect element to be ready because I put console.log, right? Mm. So nothing getting displayed here. So guys, what I did is I have just taken out and one small change it is on key up I did it. It was an on change. So on change generally what happens is it'll be key focus on the text box. So where unless and until you type some value, it is getting blurred only then it calls. So I just change this even to on key up. So the moment you release the key, so what happens is it's trying to find the fire the service. So that way, I so what is it? So initially we had such a big code to have to display the lightning data table. So then we reduced and we just simply put the finally this data table is enough. So idly this taking ID and accounts data columns. How we got this account data? So we just came here and we saw here there's an accounts. If you just simply give the track of an account is fine, and we don't have captured about the errors or failures, whatever it is. So we're just given, hey, you call this method, and the return of this results, you please hold it here. So that's it. And this dot data directly we have dealt with here, and we got these results. But ideally, it should be like you should say that hey, this data is equal to this. If you have error, you have to display this, and this is the ideal way. But I just don't want to go at the very beginning. Goes categorize that you have errors or the actual data. So now, is it the only events issue or something they playing with this data is issue? Let's see. I'll remove now. Just for the quick thing. Mm, Accounts, this data is enough. I think this I'll remove it off. So one by one we'll do it. So wide accounts, why we say this? We are classifying them. Hey, you are error, and then do this. So this dot columns also is not required because on the top we have defined. So just error undefined accounts. You put data here. It is undefined data. So let's deploy this quickly. Okay, this is displayed there. Let's quickly come back and do a refresh here. Hmm. Oh, now the problem is we have put the accounts dot data, just the accounts there. You getting? Because already we have mentioned these two accounts. Already we have categorized the two accounts. No more. So we're not just going just like accounts. So the return of this, I'm not just putting an account here and then moving around. So this time account is equal to data I have specified. So that way, so this should not be data. This should be flatline accounts. Agree? So if this speeds up to deploy, it will be good enough. I think it is taking a lot of time here.
So if you modify the code there, it will not work out
Where?
in Salesforce.com, that site.
I mean
You
developer
have to,
console.
yeah.
No, this code won't be available there. Only in the VS Code you
Oh,
have to do it.
okay, okay.
So I don't know. The Salesforce is working at the background to get the stuff to be displayed there. So we have got this. So the issue is that accounts.data we didn't know that was the issue. Let me put mcd ind. Okay, got this. So for this mcd ind, this is the results we have. And yes, of course, now we are on the track where so we can also have this type of template now. If this template is accounts is true, then you get and display the data. So that is fair. Okay. So now, if you have something like error, again, you can get the error also and display this because we have already capturing them errors. Yes, right. So we are capturing the errors also here.
Yeah.
So now, if you want to do a sorting, so let's go look at the table of what how in existing tables they have a sorting things. So LWC sorting in data table. So many websites they've given about this, but where is our lightning? So okay, so they won't display here properly. So I have to copy them to get it to a normal browser. Table with sortable columns. So here we say sorted direction, sorted by, on sort, handle sort. Look at this. We have few things to do a sorting here. So till now we displayed about the key columns and data. If you want to hide the checkbox, you can do it. For example, here you don't want the checkbox to be here, and you're sorting by. See, look at this sorting. We are doing it here in the sorting.js. What we have. So handle sort even field name and direction name, clone data. Okay, fine. This dot data. So this by sort age. So what I have to mention the each and every attribute where we say it as sortable is equal to true. Getting? So this is the data that we are constructing. It is fine. But in the columns we have to say sortable is equal to true. Like how we have since yes come here, come to the HTML table. Sorry, in the JS file for the labels we have mentioned, right? So we have to mention here let's say sortable for customer name. So I would give enter and then sortable is equal to true. So because the label at the top which is appearing for the customer name, you're saying that hey, sort here. I'm not giving sort for the number or a city, but I'm just giving number. No, sort for customer name. I'm just giving here, and I come here back and say that so label field name for the age label only. They are trying to do a sort it here. Okay, anyway, fine. So for this second field, they are trying to sort it out. So when they try to deal with the data all do we have columns we have default sort direction is ACC, sort direction account, okay, ascending order, sort by, handle event sort. Okay, this dot data is clone data. Okay, let's try to copy this method and put over there and see whether our class table is been helping out with this. Because for sorting also, I don't want it to send the data and then get it. There are methods to send. For example, so we have a restore number here, no? So we also have to send another param called as sort key that is ascending or descending to where? To your Apex class. And then in Apex class query, they are sorting the data and then getting it. So every time when you do a sort, click on that particular method or button. So we are calling the data and then we are fishing and again we're getting it back. So we have to use advantage of the JavaScript. So you already got the data, right? So you have to process in locally here. Process locally here in the sense you got the data. So you try to display a sort at the local browser itself. You need not to go again to the server and get the data. For that, let's do this. What in this table they have asked for us, we'll do that. So on sort is the functions that we have to call on handle sort and sort direction. So this all we have to have it. I don't want column, but I'll just use all of this. So come to my HTML table, and so there are three things we have already taken. So now additionally, few things we're gonna add it, which I say handle sort is a function we didn't have, so we have to call them. And let me go to a class here, and then so after this method, there is something handle sort to try it. So go get to this sorting. Handle sort is required. So nowhere there mention the age or something. So a few things we have to change according to this because they're saying this dot data. It's not this dot data now. So we are having this dot accounts. So we have to play there. So this dot accounts to this dot and this dot. Yeah. So post is sorting, you're getting back this results. Sorted direction. So now go back here. So where they are this case are doing sorting. Sort by use sort by age column. Hmm. So default sorting action. So this all we have to have. There's three things we have to have it. So you can use @ track or just simply put this value. This is all fair enough. So I'm gonna put this at the top. So I want a default sort is ascending, sort direction is ascending, and sort by we have to define here. The three variables they have taken. So sort by age. Now are they calling clone dot sort? Okay. So this is a user reusable method they have used. So where they're calling this method is here they're calling it clone data. So clone data they're using it. Clone data. Um, that too they have defined something like a date. Sorry, this dot accounts here, no? So that they put here, and then some data, whatever we are holding here, that sort. So you're passing the value here. Sort by which direction, which is this, and the method name you're trying to pass is this. So this is the field you're passing, reverse you're passing, and primary you're passing. Based on this, they're trying to convert it from a comma b. So a is something the value actual value, b is something the reversed value. and they do some activity and then return back this sort value. So that comes here, the result of this, and then it says in ascending order. Um, so if it is actual, so put it 1. If you are again went to descending, then do -1. So there's some logic here. Suppose this data, the cloned value data, we get it, so we assign it back to data. So this is basically this data counts here. Sort directions by default what mentioned, sorted by the value is already been mentioned here. Sorted by is the latest results what you have. So I think this is the one reusable method I need to have. So this is not about something about age. It can be about anything. That they're using this sort by here, and nowhere the data I'm saying, everywhere I'm saying this data counts because this data count is holding the value for us. So that's the max, and control save customers, control save now at least. What we have, why this has not been saved? Oh, shouldn't close here. This is the one it should be. Something went wrong. Sorting HTML. So lightning table to be closed properly. Yeah. Open the brace and close the brace, and then lightning table started, lightning table ended. In the between, they have multiple what do you call as variables or params to pass, which is key, field, data, columns, and then you're saying that hide checkbox column, I don't want any checkbox, and then default sort action is ascending, sorted which is ascending, sorted by is the value based on the action that you perform here. We are changing the results, and that sort is the method that is doing it. Otherwise, we have the normal errors and the database just closes accounts. Let's see this. So right click, deploy this to source. I think post this deployment will see them what is happening. Hmm. So just given by the number. Oh, this, yeah. Look at this. Sorting is happening, and I do MCD. Based on the MCD only, we have been bringing it up. So look at the sorting. So this sorting is not available here. Why? Because I have made only under the customer name. So whatever the value you're putting it as, firstly it is descending and displaying as ascending, and then the moment you change it, it's changing to descending. So you can reverse this by just clicking on them. So one more thing I'll show you. So let me clear this log so that you can see in each every transaction are we calling the method that you'll get to know. I did a control shift R so that it displays the right value there. Initial this will load because it is just displaying the data on the fetch for which that is fetching for the down table. Only for that we're getting logged there. So this component is yet to call. So I'm just doing here MCD. So one time we made a call. So for one time made a call, this is loaded data. So now with the loaded data, I'm just playing around here. Look at this. Multiple times I'm clicking. So this we're doing a sorting. But if we just come back here, so it is having still this 3. That means what? It is not calling a real time to a server and then getting the data. So it is processing at the local only. So that's the reason I didn't write any parent to send sort by ascending and get the data. What happens for every click you do it, it should not do a SOQL query and that would hit the limit. So you have to process the data and get to the local system, and there you have to do a processing of the sorting you have to do it. So that's a best practice where you don't use the server utilizations. Whereas, so this as many clicks you are just using here, it depends on only for the browser it is. So I think we are able to search today and we're able to display the data and we're able to sort through multiple functions. And yeah, of course, in latent data table is one of the data table is very important stuff. So that we covered up. And the data table that which covered, which has a couple of them. So which had sorting function. So let's say data table, let's come here. So now you on click on a on sort you're doing and you are calling this method, right? So now something you want to click a checkbox and then to save it. So there's another method we have on save. You can have separate method and then you can handle them because you are trying to click something a checkbox and you wanted to process only those records and do update. Again, like on sort, how you written a function method here, it just goes to the handle sort and then you do some activity. The same way, whatever the method, the button that you click there for each record to process, you can get the data there also. So now we're able to search and display the table. So that's a good piece to do it with LWC. Any questions? So Kumar, you there? Okay, no problem. So we'll meet up tomorrow, guys. Thank you all.
Yeah, Raj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kumar. Bye.
Okay. Bye.